Hey everyone, my name is Gideon Black. I'm the JLIC rabbi at NYU, and I am really happy to be here today to share some words of Torah with you on Parshat Acharei Mot. Maybe we'll uncover an idea that should give us an insight to think about on Seder night. The Parsha this week, in chapter 18, introduces the chapter which discusses the list of prohibited relationships, with the verse, K'ma'aser Mitzrayim asher yashavtem ba lo ta'asu. Like those in the land of Egypt in which you dwelt, you shall not do. Don't behave like the Egyptians, asher yashavtem ba, among whom you dwelt, or in the land which you dwelt. Don't behave like that. And the commentators ask why the superfluous phrase, K'ma'aser Mitzrayim asher yashavtem ba. We know Egypt is the land in which the Jewish people had just dwelt in. We've been slaves there, we've been persecuted for years and years. If God is commanding Moses to speak to the Jewish people and tell them not to behave like those in the land of Egypt, need it say, Eretz Mitzrayim asher yashavtem ba, the land of Egypt in which you have dwelt? Why does it add in this phrase, especially considering that every extra word in the Torah is there for a reason? It's embedded in the language of the Torah to teach us something deep. So what's its significance? There's another verse which says that God saved the Jewish people on that day from the hand of Egypt. The Mechilta notes that this language, this metaphor of being saved from the hand of Egypt, is like a man holding a bird. If he wants, he can clench his fist and choke the bird. The poignancy of the Mechilta's comment, I believe, is twofold. On the one hand, it shows just how vulnerable we were. The Jewish people were literally in the grasp of Pharaoh, and he could have smothered us and wiped us out in one moment. Thanks only to the distraction of the relentless plagues, that didn't happen. But we were so vulnerable, we were nearly wiped out. But it has another meaning. Even if, though the person clenching the bird on his hand, even if he chooses not to close his grasp, but he lets the bird free, in order for the bird to really be free, it still has to fly away on its own. It still has to flap its own wings and choose a life of freedom. There were those in Egypt, Jewish people in Egypt, who didn't want to go free. Of course they didn't want to be slaves. They didn't want to be persecuted. But local emancipation was all they sought. They didn't want to become nomads again, searching through the desert for some higher goal, on the way to somewhere that they never knew really if it would ever come, burdened by the responsibilities of life as a Jew. They just wanted to be free, safe, happy, local Egyptians. Moshe had a difficult task on his hand. We always think of his role as to convince Pharaoh to let the Jewish people go. But it wasn't just that. It was also to convince the Jewish people that they had something better to live for, something greater to guide them. That life could be more meaningful than just living assimilated lives in Egypt, safe, with equal rights as everyone else. That they had a higher calling and a purpose in this world, and they were there for a reason, with a mission. That was Moshe's task. K'ma'aser Eretz Mitzrayim asher yashavtem ba lo ta'asu. Like those in the land of Egypt amongst whom you dwelt. You didn't just live there, you didn't just stay there, you weren't just passing through, but you actually took root. It became part of our psyche. We're blessed currently to live in an amazing country with a phenomenal culture from which we can glean so much wisdom, so much beauty. But at the same time, we have to know that we have access to the richest culture, to our heritage, to the Torah and its values. It's something we should celebrate and be excited about and be inspired about. That our yishuv, that we should dwell in the world of Torah, in the wisdom of Judaism, and take the best from our society. But that when we sing L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim, that next year in Jerusalem, at the end of the Seder night, that our aspirations, even if we don't literally plan to move to Israel in the coming year, that's where we identify with, that's where we take root, that's where home is. Home is where the heart is, goes the saying, and that's no more true than on Seder night when we sing L'Shana Haba B'Yerushalayim Habnuya. Wish everyone a very good Yom Tov and a happy Pesach to you and your families.